I apologize for there being two parts, guys. So the thing is, I'm recording from my phone, and unfortunately when you do videos from your phone tends to die very fast. So I had to plug it in. So it's plugged in now, so it will not die again. So there will only be two parts. As I was saying in our last video when it cut out, as we're reading, I'm wanting you to think about these 6 things, okay? Think about pictures that you may form in your mind from the words that you were reading. So mental images, okay? Because there will be words that you read that will provide like an image that comes across your head just from the words that you're reading, okay? So think about that. Think about predictions. We've already read the text, so you may already know what's coming up, but if you don't, that's okay. Think about what you are predicting what's going to happen next, okay? These things you're thinking about to help improve your understanding of the story, okay? Maybe think about a passage that you liked a lot, and then maybe why you liked it. Quote a text from the story. Think about repeating ideas or even themes, so something that reoccurs over and over again, okay? Think about words or phrases you're not really sure of, but then you kind of understand them because of context clues. So words surrounding them that help you to better understand the words or phrases you're confused with, okay? So think about these 6 things as your guide while we're reading. Now, I know that page 9.3 says to go to 48 through 50 to think about ideas as we read. We're not going to do that. We're actually going to start back at the very beginning of our story, and we're going to, not the very beginning, we're going to go back to page 40, I believe 6 is where we started. So we're going to go to page 46, the very beginning of Birdie's story, okay? And we're going to think about these 6 ideas as we're reading, okay? I'm going to read one paragraph, and then I'm going to ask you, do any of these 6 things stand out to you, okay? And you're going to actually answer me, either in your mind or verbally with your words, okay? Birdie Bowman, you are only 13 years old, and here you are on your way to the big city. I thought, feeling the seat underneath me, or under me. I watched the scenery from the windows, the flat landscape, and the farmers walking around in their fields in the distance. I'm going to stop right there. Are there any words that help you to picture? So that's the first thing I'm going to ask you, because we're looking for any words that are helping you to form something in your mind, a mental image. If so, which sentences help you to form a mental image? I hope that you said, I watched the scenery from the windows, the flat landscape, and the farmers walking around in the fields in the distance. So, guys, this whole paragraph, he is describing something to us. He says, well, first off, I thought, feeling the seat underneath me. So he's giving us descriptive details, right? So I'm on number 1 in my Think As You Read. So I'm going back to my ELA packet. I'm leaving my story as it is right there. I'm getting my pencil and or pen. You guys use a pencil. I don't have one with me right now. I'm going to use my trusty blue little pen so you guys can see it a lot better, because if I use a pencil, you guys will not be able to see it. We're going to think about what we've read and how that is showing us something instead of telling us. It shows us a mental image, right? So it says the first paragraph shows us something. It shows us great descriptions of what is happening to Bowman on the inside. So he feels the seat underneath him. And on the outside, he's watching the flat landscape and the farmers walking around in the fields in the distance. So let's continue. We're going to see if we can't get the same Think As You Read mental image from the second paragraph. We're trying to picture from the first and second paragraph, okay? My mind was closed to all things past. I was not going to look back on my farm days, hogs slopping, or the long hours of toil. I didn't give a thought to things back at home. That train rolled on all day long, to the song of the metal against the tracks, the blur of the towns, and the villages moving past my eyes. Here's where your highlighter will come in handy. Okay, so far in my first paragraph, I have found several sentences that are showing me and not telling me. They're giving me descriptive details. I'm going to highlight this first sentence that shows me details. I thought, feeling the seat underneath me. So he's feeling the seat underneath him. I watched the scenery from the windows, the flat landscape, and the farmers walking around in their fields in the distance. Okay, we're gonna skip these first two sentences because I can see that he's hog slopping in long hours of toil. But then he goes into really descriptive details when he says the train rolled on all day long to the song of the metal against the tracks. It rolled on all day long to the song. So there he's telling us that that train was making music. It was not really music, but it was making a lot of noise because of the metal hitting the tracks. And the towns and villages were blurry, so you can almost see this in your mind. They were a blur of towns and villages moving past my eyes. So there are our first couple of sentences that we are going to write as we think when we're reading, okay? These two sentences. So we're going to write for our 105, page 9.3. Here's what I'm thinking. After the first and second paragraph, and this is just what I'm thinking, guys. You do not copy what I'm doing. I'm modeling what I'm thinking, okay? So I've looked for mental images. I've looked for descriptive details. And then I highlighted what I found, okay? The first and second paragraph, because that's what they are, the first and second paragraph. The first and second paragraphs give us great descriptions. Or great, let's say, showing, describing. The first and second paragraphs give us great showing, descriptive words. Of what is happening. Okay. All right, so there's our number one. You guys, like I've just said, do not copy my thinking. You are thinking as you read, okay? So you are using this as your guide. You could think of something that maybe was a prediction. So maybe you saw a chance or an opportunity to predict what happens next as you read these first two paragraphs. Maybe you liked these passages, so maybe you liked one or both of these passages a lot, and then tell me what you liked about them. Maybe you found the first or second paragraph confusing, then tell me why. Or tell me what was confusing about it, not why. Tell me what was confusing about it. Okay? Maybe you saw something that was repeating or reoccurring over again, so like a theme or an idea that was just kind of being said over and over again. Or maybe you saw a word or phrase that was kind of confusing to you, and when you read around it, the context clues, it helped you to understand what it was saying, what it was meaning. Okay? This is just my understanding, my thinking, okay? You can choose any one of these. You do not have to do the one I did. Please do not steal my thinking. You show me your thinking. Because when Miss Moore, Miss Lynette, and when I look over these passages, guys, we are not wanting to see Miss Coggins' thinking. All right? We're wanting to see yours. So think about what you're thinking as you read, using this as your guide. Okay? We're going to continue reading. So if you need to pause the video, you may do so. All right. "We'll see," the porter said, very aware of the white conductor who could make trouble for him if he wanted. "There's always something to do around here. But be careful of the conductor. He's in charge of the porters and attendants." The conductor walked back and forth through the aisle, checking on the porters and attendants, all colored, making sure that everything was up to standard. I watched the porter, who kept out of his way but did his work. So I watched the porter who kept out of his way but did his work. That's interesting. I wonder why. Stop and think right there if you need to. I'm a little confused. I wonder why. So I'm using this as my guide. I'm wondering why. That's a little confusing to me. I'm wondering why the porter stays out of the conductor's way. Okay? So maybe you could think as you read, think about that. Okay? His job was to help with the bags, to meet the request of the riders, and to put out the steps when the train stopped. All the attendants worked in the kitchen, cooking meals and serving the commuters. I learned much on that train. Everything was so new and different in this environment outside of Summertown. It was my first experience in a much bigger world. For example, the train featured a flush toilet, and I was only familiar with outhouses in my rural town. All right, so I want to stop in this paragraph and the last one. So on pages 46, right here in this paragraph, and in this paragraph, 46 and 47, okay? The conductor walked back and forth through the aisle, checking porters and attendants, making sure that everything was up to standard. I watched the porter who kept out of his way but did his work. So I'm a little curious. Why would the porter want to stay out of his way? Or even it seems that Birdie's kind of curious, or Bowman, right? It seems like he's curious, and he's even hardworking. So it seems in this paragraph, right? He watches everyone do their job, and then he even starts to pick up their jobs for them. He helps them with their jobs. So what I'm thinking is this is the 5th paragraph, right? Bowman certainly seems curious and hardworking, and he's taking everything new and interesting about his surroundings in. And even though he's on the train as a passenger, he's riding it. He's still helping the porters do the job. I wonder, here's my prediction. I wonder if he'll end up working on the railroad. So he's loving being on the train. Now, guys, we've already read the story, so I know you know what the answer is. But that's like a prediction. Pretend like we haven't even read the story. Just from reading this paragraph, we're learning that Birdie's loving being in this train. It's a brand new experience, and he's getting flush toilets for the first time. He's watching all the attendants do their jobs. He's learning so much. So my prediction, remember, my prediction would be that, I wonder if Bowman and then remember, this is my thoughts, my process. I wonder if Bowman will end up working on the railroad. And we found this. So I wonder if he'll end up working in the railroad. In paragraph, remember, always state what paragraph you found it in. In paragraph, what paragraph did I say that was in again? It was in paragraph 5. In paragraph 5. Okay. So here is a mental image. Right? Here is a prediction. I hope you all can see it. I'll zoom out just, oh, I can't zoom out. I'll pull it back just a little bit. Pause the video if you need to continue writing. I'm going to move the paper back to our guide. So we've found a mental image. We have found a prediction. Guys, I want you to try and find a different part of our guide. So I have found a mental image and I have made a prediction. So maybe think about a passage that you liked a lot, or maybe think about a passage that you found confusing, okay? You are going to use the rest of this guide, so you may not use these two again. Does that make sense? We've already used them, so you may not use them again. I want you to try and use the rest of this guide to help you improve your understanding while we're reading. Think about these while you're reading. Do you like it a lot? What do you like a lot about it? Is it confusing? What about it is confusing? Is there something that's repeating over and over again? What's repeating again? Is there something that you didn't understand, but when you read it, the context clues helped you to understand it? Find it in your paragraph. So you're going to start on page 48, okay? On page 48, you're going to read each paragraph and you're going to stop and think, okay, is there something from my guide that I can use to improve my understanding about that paragraph? Use this guide. After each paragraph, ask yourself, is there something from this paragraph that I can use to understand this story? Does that make sense? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to tell me what it is that you're choosing. So if it's a passage that you liked, you're going to do as I did up here, mental image, prediction. You're going to write passage that I liked, or passage that was confusing, or repeating idea or theme. You're going to do just like we did right here. Don't write it until after you have written down what you're thinking, okay? It's think as you read. So our last one was, I wonder if Bowman will end up working on the railroad in paragraph 5. That was my thought in paragraph 5 because he loved being in the train. So obviously we're wondering if he's going to work in the railroad, right? So as you read each paragraph, think about your thinking. Think as you read, okay? You are going to complete these last two on your own. We will be checking for your thinking on these last two, all right? When you are done with page 9.3, guys, you do still have Thursday practice and skills. You are going to complete your vocabulary worksheet, which is this, okay? You are completely able to do this. Use your vocab words. Each one has your definition next to it. Here is your vocab chart. Write your vocab words in alphabetical order. Then fill in the blanks with one vocab word from above. So you may only use one word one time. Okay? Simple as that. Then, using voice worksheet day 4. Okay? So you're going to complete your using voice worksheet day 4. Says, how would you say it? Read the sentence pairs. Decide who the audience might be. Write your answer on the line. Here's the example they have provided you. This steak is great. How did you make it? Chef. So the chef is saying, this steak is great. How did you make it? This steak is wonderful. I wonder how it was made. I wonder how it was made. Friend. Okay, so read each sentence pair. Decide who the audience might be. It could be your mom, dad, sister, brother. Decide who your audience is. Write your answer on a line. We'll see you back on Friday. Do not forget to complete Thursday's word collecting, guys. We do check these. We do watch you online. If you are not completing these, we know you are not, and we take daily grades on these. If you are not completing these, guys, you are getting zeros. You need to complete these. Zeros will not pass you in 5th grade. Complete your word collecting. We'll see you Friday.